Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt in Studio West, joined by Seth Mandel, he of commentary, podcast, and writing fame. Hello, Seth. I did not listen to this morning's podcast, so I don't have anything current to listen to. I had to go to a breakfast meeting. But I want to talk to you about what I talked about with Dr. Oren about and with Danny Pletka about. I think we're going to bomb Iran within 6 months. You guys appear to be very skeptical of that. Why are you skeptical? Because I think Trump has said a number of times, give up the program or we bomb you. And I don't think the Iranians are going to give up the program, so I think we're going to bomb them.
Yeah, well, if that were the case, then I would agree. But Trump has gone back and forth on this, and he's had the opportunity. He has a window to do it now. He's had that window open for a bit. And there are changes taking place within the administration, right? His team is at war with each other. And I'm finding it hard to predict exactly how that will turn out. But that is the thing that, to me, undermines what President Trump insists he's going to do if and when.
All right. Now, Seth, my counter to Danny Pletka today was, hey, he pulled the trigger and had Soleimani killed. And then the Iranians have been trying to kill him for 5 years. Plus, he said yesterday, I'm 100% with Israel, just got off the phone with Bibi, and we're all good. We're 100% in agreement. I just think, as with Putin, he's giving the Iranians a lot of opportunity to show the world that they can't be dealt with. And I just think it takes 6 months to prove that point. And Rubio with Bari Weiss today made the point again, which they don't get to enrich anything in our world. And they can have a program like the United Arab Emirates have. They don't get to enrich either. Why such skepticism?
Well, I think because when Steve Witkoff first entertained these discussions, he started with the Obama deal parameters, essentially. He said, well, they can they can enrich to 3.67%. And then he walked it back, but it doesn't seem like it's unclear exactly what his directives are in this. If he opened with an opening bid that was essentially the deal that President Trump got us out of in his first term, then it's hard to see where the resolve is. Now, I don't think it's impossible. And I think, in fact, I think the last time you asked me this question, I thought there was probably a better than 50% chance that he would do it. It's true that I have taken on some additional skepticism since that time, but that skepticism has really been driven by what we've seen with his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and also by the fact that Mike Waltz seems to be, the national security advisor, seems to be diminished within the administration. Pete Hegseth, who is a more hawkish voice, I think, seems to be diminished within the administration. And it's not clear that there are hawkish voices that are rising along with that. It just seems like if we're on a seesaw, it looks like Tulsi Gabbard gets the upper hand for the time being. And
okay, so Seth, I got to jump in, and I always have to issue a disclaimer when anyone brings up Mike Waltz. I have to say he's my friend and my son works for him. So there, I've done my disclaimer. I think all of that stuff is tea leaves. What I believe is what Trump says repeatedly, and he repeatedly says they can't have a bomb. And you and I know that means everything. They've either got to throw the doors open and let the IAEA in everywhere without notice, or we don't believe them. And I don't think Trump digs a hole this deep and then forgets about it. I just don't think he does it that way.
Well, that's the question, is whether he is Obama with the red line, right? Obama's red line with Syria was a huge moment for the administration, where he said they can't use chemical weapons. If they use chemical weapons against their own innocent people, we're going to respond. And then we didn't. And not only didn't we respond, but we ginned up this ridiculous deal between John Kerry and Sergei Lavrov to get rid of the chemical weapons in Syria. And we just saw a New York Times story the other day that there may be 100 chemical weapons sites left in Syria or something like that. So that's the question. Is he just looking for something to call a win until, he runs out the clock and it's the next guy's problem? I think we're
Seth, you just reassured me. Because the one thing I think I absolutely believe about President Trump is that he does not want any comparison made between him and President Obama that suggests that they acted in the same way. I do think that's a given. Now, I got to ask you quickly, because I didn't get Bethany this week for some reason. You guys live in a crazy place. Montgomery County in front of the Supreme Court. Did you listen to that argument?
Sure.
What'd you think? Do you think that lawyer has ever been in front of the Supreme Court before?
I just think they have no good arguments in favor of preventing parents from opting their students out from these crazy lessons. I mean, these are inessential lessons. Nobody at the school is arguing that learning, about, I don't know, Tommy the Rainbow Unicorn or whatever, is the same as learning basic math or science. In fact, it's unlearning science, really. But and the parents are not asking for a veto over curriculum, which is what the unions are saying. But it's not true. The parents are saying, we're not going to change anything about what any other kid gets to learn. All we want is for that inessential, which they've acknowledged is inessential, brief lesson, for our kid not to have that stuffed in their heads. And how do you argue against that? I mean, he's got to play the hand that he has. And I think it's a terrible hand.
Oh, not only is it a terrible hand, though. Justice Gorsuch kept saying, well, isn't it true that this is, oh, no, that's not true. Then Justice Gorsuch would say, well, it's right here in the record. And the guy was backpedaling from the first moment. And I don't know if he's been there before, but these guys and gals, they're pretty smart. They read the record. They got clerks. I don't think there's a prayer for Montgomery County. And boy, did it sound bad. Do you think there is?
A prayer maybe, but no, not real. I mean, I largely agree with you. I think that, the fact that these opt-outs existed in the past in the school system and then were taken away in very recent years when this became a hot button progressive movement topic, I think really says it all. How do you argue that we were happy to let them opt out until it turned out that lots of people wanted to opt out? And now that lots of people want to opt out, we can't let anybody opt out anymore. I mean, that's the argument.
You will be made to agree. That's their policy. You will be made to agree. Seth Mandel, always good to see you. I will listen to you later today on the Commentary Pod from this morning. You ought to like and subscribe to Commentary Podcast and subscribe to Commentary Magazine. I'll be right back.